is the Albany bulb. I grew up coming out here and playing around on my bike, but now I come out here and dig trails and do a lot of like sunset rides here. It was a hill that they decided to blow up and build a horse track where the hill was, and they pushed all the dirt into the water here and turned it into a construction dump, thus all the concrete and rebar and stuff. This is Mad Mark's castle. There used to be a bunch of structures like this out here, but this is the last one standing. I think his was probably the most soundly built, surprisingly. The roof has caved in though. I'm Lee King, the owner and head fabricator of King Fabrications. I build and I race a lot of bikes. I also dig some trails, throw some races. I started King Fabrications 2.5 years ago, building out of my shop in the back of my childhood house. The shop was a COVID project that I started. I was going to welding school and was unable to continue learning how to weld due to lockdown, so turned the what was a storage space into a little welding shop. It's about 250 square feet, but it's been perfect for a little solo shop. I do all the fabrication and a lot of the paint work there myself. When I was growing up, I always knew I wanted to be a welder. I really liked building stuff, and once I learned what welding was, I kind of figured that was what I wanted to do. But I was also an avid cyclist when I was going to school, so it just kind of made sense to marry the two things. The Bay Area has a super thriving fixed gear scene, and that's mostly what I ride nowadays still. Yeah, so building bikes for friends and for my community, but also just that's the kind of riding that I like to do the most, so it makes sense to build those bikes the most. I started racing on the velodrome. That was my main thing for a while, but now I mainly do cyclocross and gravel racing, but still love riding the fixie. Probably ride the fixie more than anything. My favorite kind of racing nowadays is grassroots racing in the park, you know, not sanctioned, not governed, not like, doesn't have strict rules, whereas at the track there's very defined categories and, you know, requirements for just participating. As somebody who doesn't quite fit into a box easily, it's kind of shitty to put myself into a weird box. I mean, I think that it kind of perpetuates itself. A lot of non-cis, non-white people don't want to work with older cis white dudes. And so if you're trying to join into the industry, it's like, do you want to work with a bunch of cis white dudes that are in their 30s? Not particularly. Yeah, I mean, welding is kind of a funny thing. It's also a very male-dominated field. Luckily, the school that I went to actually, the person that worked in the tool room was very queer, and we had a pretty strong queer scene just in the welding shop itself. So I think that really helped me fall in love with welding as much as I did.
What are you looking forward to most about going to Germany?
I really want to meet all the other frame builders. I think that'll be really cool. I think that NorCal definitely has a style, like slack, you know, especially thinking about like the cyclocross bikes here, like a lot of wide bar, pretty slack, almost like mini mountain bike-esque stuff, you know, because a lot of the gravel riding we do here is really gnarly, and there isn't a ton of like flat, open roads to ride around on. So it's really like mountain biking. So you kind of have to build bikes around that. And I think that seeing the European bikes in person will be really interesting. Yeah. I think that trans visibility and queer people really need to be in spotlight right now is really important. I think that showing queer people doing their thing is really important to show that we're just normal people and that we belong here and we're not trying to hurt anybody or we don't have some crazy agenda, we're just trying to exist.